This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found
Hey, hello everybody, I am the bad and it
all of
was
his co-workers were gone.
2000.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We're doing the Stanley Parable. Hey.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Yes, I'm going to talk over the narrator. Hey. Hey, what's over here? Yeah. Yep, there we go.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Eeny, meeny.
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Finally. Hey, now for the power of editing.
So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Alright, let's do this.
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
Oh. We're blue now.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Welcome to the whiteboard ending. Okay. Console bark. Fuck. Ah.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a sing. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Hey, I'm gonna be a good boy and follow the narrator. Hey. And more whiteboards.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Jeez. That's not how you solve a dispute with a coworker. Hey. Alright. Broom closet. What's in
Stanley
here?
stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Hey, what will happen if I stay in here?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
There's a low poly bloom.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Not much stuff in the broom closet. I mean, yeah, there's a broom.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly and really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit,
I'm
and were
moving.
just about to leave
I don't
because there's
think I'm
nothing
dead.
here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your
chair
central
is
nervous
very
system and you
squeaky.
collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Okay, I think the narrator finally finished up with his dialogue.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
Yep.
You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Alright. Now I've run the narrator
Coming to
dry.
a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Push the office of doom. There's something over here.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Eight.
Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. If he knew that the combo was 2845, it would be another story entirely. But no, this is what he was going to do instead.
I'm just gonna drive the narrator nuts while following his orders.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Wait, how far can I reach the keypad? Oh my goodness.
2845.
Stanley can reach. My goodness.
But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Oh man, I love self-aware humor. Okay, down we go.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit
Oh,
peculiar.
what's Stanley now the
It was a
passcode?
stirring of emotion in his chest,
Hey.
as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
And do some
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a good boy. Bark, bark. 80. Lights.
The lights rose on an enormous
Camera.
room packed with television
Action.
screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
No hablo español. Hey. Yes, I know the world numbers. Hey. Camera.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
The one. Oh wait, there's employee 000. That's interesting. That guy's upside down. Hey. That wasn't employee 000. That was employee number. In fact, all of these are from the same room. 432. There it is. Hey. There's nothing there. Nothing but a lamp. Hey. Hey, here's the elevator button.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
Oh, hey,
Had
music.
Stanley really been under someone's control all this time?
Hey, that guy's
Was this the only
fired.
reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
I just remembered that
Here was
not
the proof.
all of the
The
music
heart
in
of
the
the
Stanley
operation.
Parable is
Controls labeled with
copyright
emotions.
safe.
Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working.
Really?
All of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
10.
And as the cold reality
That
of his
symbol.
past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery
None of
would
these say
never
happy
again
or
exert
sad.
its terrible power
Another
over
10.
another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Like all these buttons are lit up. That is a G. G for Gmod. One of my favorite games. Probably stop playing that game. Hey. Mind controls idle, awaiting output. What does that say? Very pixelated. Hurry.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
What does that say? The pencil for the one. It did not respond. Huh. I want to know more about Employee 432. That guy seems interesting. By the power of my long arms. Ah. I just love black loading screens. Stop sound, please. I don't know
Blackness.
what song.
And a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
I don't know what song it is, but there's a copyright protected song in the Stanley
Yes.
Parable.
He had won.
Hey.
He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
That is a
And yet,
slow moving
Even
door.
as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been
The narrator
freed from the
deleted them.
machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how
This
to feel.
door is very
Whatever
slow.
life he lives, it will be his.
So what did
And that was all he
the
needed to
controls
know.
here?
It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
Wait,
Stanley stepped through the open door.
what is the controls here? I'm very confused. Hey, buds. Hey, stuff, land, parking lot, no park. Oh, that's a fire line. Never mind. I was wondering, no parking in a parking lot.
Stanley felt the
Cutscene. Music. I know some of these music is
This was
copyright
exactly
safe,
the way, right now,
but I don't know if all of it
things
is.
were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
And Stanley is dead because he is a vampire and he got obliterated by the sunlight. Hey! 432 pencil sharpening. Okay, now I'm really, really interested in Employee 432. There's an augmented reality game here, and I want to know about it. Hey!
When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring, but eager to get back to business.
FACEPUNCH. Oh God, what have I done? Oh God. A warning, do not jump from cargo lift while it's in motion will cause death. Oh? Let's see. What did cause death now? Here. I'm alive. Yep.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Well done.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Ooh.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Ooh. What's 27?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Oh.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you?
I can't move.
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come
cannot
inside.
move.
Let me show you what's really going on here.
I can move. No.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Why? Why did I do this?
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Well. When I didn't play the keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
I see.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
Where does this come from?
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands.
Oh dear.
It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Oh, Stanley could do that. Oh, 0.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job.
Hey, wait a minute.
Imagine that one day while at work,
there was a TV there.
Press
0 to watch TV. Now I cannot watch TV.
Boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Well, that's from the original Stanley Parable.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
You sure about that? All right, dinner.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible
the floor.
paths and destinations.
The floor is becoming orange.
An enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that
oh dear,
in
this
many
place
directions.
is slowly becoming an office.
Was a game with a baby.
Oh God.
And he called it the Stanley
Oh
Parable.
God. All right.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can
never do any of these things.
That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me.
Your arguments are invalid. All the buttons aren't making me do anything.
The screen asks you to push a button. Do not do it.
Told me not to do it.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him.
You sort of do make the rules.
I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time you'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Hey, and that was all the time I have left for today. Hey. There's so many things. Hey. And thank you so much for watching. Like if you like, and I'll see you in the next video. Very well, my people. Awaiting input.